My emotionally abusive sister went off on me for no reason, and it was so bad that my husband, who's just a chill guy, got into a screaming match with her, but now they want an apology and he's not giving them one. This is my first time posting here, but I've commented a lot, so I'm using a new account to stay anonymous. I am the youngest of 7 kids. The problem I have is with the eldest sibling, my sister Mary. Mary has always undermined and judged my choices growing up. For example, when I wanted to take a gap year after high school to save money for university, Mary told me it was a bad idea and that once I took a gap year, I'd never go back, just like her. I almost didn't go through with it because she made me second-guess myself. Then, after the gap year, I changed my major after the first semester, and she yelled at me for hours about how I was going to ruin my life and waste all my money since I couldn't make up my mind. I have countless examples of times she made me cry from her yelling or made me question my decisions. And at the time, I felt compelled to listen to her. After meeting my husband, then boyfriend, and getting a therapist, they both helped me realize I needed to distance myself from Mary because she's extremely toxic and both emotionally and verbally abusive. It took a lot of effort, but I finally went no contact with her. I finished university, got a job in my chosen field, thanks to my brother-in-law, moved in with my husband, and eventually got married. For the first time in a long time, I felt truly happy. I still see Mary during family events and holidays. I hate seeing her, but it's my family too, and I don't want to miss out because of her. However, she always finds a way to ruin the holiday for me. She often takes digs at my husband, saying she doesn't like him and that I could do better. My husband usually tells me to ignore her because he thinks she's only doing it for a reaction. Last weekend, we had our Thanksgiving celebration at my mom's house. When we arrived, my husband asked my mom if we could host Christmas at our place since her house is getting too small to fit everyone. Before my mom could respond, Mary jumped in, saying we shouldn't offer a home we didn't buy and then called my husband an effing nepotism baby. That comment made me mad because she knows nothing about my husband's situation. My husband inherited our home from his grandfather after he passed away, so her saying that was incredibly insensitive. Both my mom and I told her off, and she quieted down for a bit. But during dinner, my brother asked me how work was going, and Mary chimed in again, claiming I probably don't work since my husband is rich. I corrected her, explaining that we're not rich and that I work as a preschool teacher and she knows this. Standing up for myself seemed to completely set her off. She yelled at me, saying I was only working there because I couldn't handle the other program I was in and that she knows I'm not happy with my temporary job and I should be pursuing a more serious career. Mary kept yelling, tearing into my life choices. I got anxious and nervous, as I always do when she yells. It brings back the trauma she caused me. I tried to defend myself but started stuttering, which made her escalate. My mom and siblings tried to get her to stop, but she wouldn't. Then she said something that hurt the most. She called me a disappointment and claimed my mom felt the same way. At that point, my husband lost it. He started yelling at her, which is rare for him since he's usually very calm. He swore at her and called her some names, including a fat bitch and a cunt. He also called her evil and said no one in the family liked her. It turned into a screaming match. My mom tried to calm Mary down, and my husband, but neither of them would stop. My husband and I ended up leaving and going back to the Airbnb we were staying at. The next day, we went back to my mom's house. My husband apologized to my mom for yelling and ruining dinner but said he wouldn't apologize to Mary. Since then, my mom has been calling me, asking me to get my husband to apologize to keep the peace. Mary still lives with her, and my mom is tired of her ranting about how rude my husband was and cursing him out. But I told my mom I'm not going to make him apologize. I know he was rude, and some of the things he said were harsh. But Mary was always rude, and no one is telling her to apologize to us. So, would I be the jerk for not telling my husband to apologize just to keep the peace with my sister? I know that neither of us owe Mary anything, but apologizing would make things easier on my mom. Update. First, I want to thank everyone who responded. Having a group of strangers get upset on my behalf was incredibly sweet and meant so much to me. Thank you all for your support. My husband also wanted me to pass along his thanks as well for standing up for me. I showed him this post, and he feels vindicated, his words, not mine. He truly is such a wonderful man, and I'm very lucky to have him. I responded to some comments, but I wanted to make a larger post to address the things I saw mentioned the most. I called my mom today and told her that my husband will definitely not be apologizing to Mary. He did apologize to the rest of the family for the scene, though. I feel bad for my mom, but making the original post gave me the courage I needed to tell her this. I don't like seeing her stressed, but I need to protect my husband just like he always protects me. My husband read a couple of comments suggesting he could apologize for the language he used. He offered to do that, but I told him it wasn't necessary since Mary would never return the apology for what she said. My mom said she understood and promised not to bring it up again. I also told her, for her own sake, to ignore Mary if she starts ranting about it again. I saw a lot of comments about cutting off my mom or going low contact with her, also a lot that were bashing her. I want to say upfront that I'm not going to do that, nor do I appreciate those rude comments. I agree that my mom has enabled some of Mary's behavior, but she's not a bad mom. She has always tried to control Mary, but Mary doesn't listen to anyone. My mom raised 7 kids on her own. Our dad died when I was 2, and Mary was 14. It's impossible to pay attention to everything with so many kids, and I don't blame my mom for not being able to stop the abuse when it started. I didn't even know it was abuse when I was a kid. I thought that's just how older sisters are supposed to be. My mom worked a lot to support us when we were kids, and unfortunately for all of us, this meant that Mary was forced to take on a parental role. And since I was the youngest, it made her both become very attached and resentful towards me. Words from my therapist. My mom has made mistakes, but so has every parent, and I'm not going to hold a grudge against the only parent I know. However, I think having a serious conversation with her would be a good idea. I might even bring her to a therapy session so we can talk about everything Mary put me through. I haven't talked to her about it much, and what my mom knows is just the tip of the iceberg. She really does try her best to parent us, she always has, but Mary is too much for everyone. Many people ask why Mary still lives at home. I mentioned this in a comment, but Mary has a chronic pain disease that forces her to take a lot of time off work. I also think it's another reason why she is so mean. I won't go into details, but she does have a job, but she can't afford to live on her own. None of my siblings are willing to take her in, and most of them are low contact with her since she treats us all the same. My mom isn't the kind of person to turn her back on her kids, so she lets Mary stay. I also think she does this as a way of making it up to Mary for relying on her so much for childcare. Some comments asked if Mary was abusing my mom. I want to clarify that this isn't the case. For everything Mary has done, she's never put her hands on anyone. While she does fight like this with my mom sometimes, she treats her much better than the rest of us. The worst thing she does is use my mom as her personal therapist. Mary is absolutely not coming to Christmas. I was never planning to invite her, and my husband would never allow her within 20 feet of our home. She will throw a fit, but we don't care. I love the holidays, and for once, I'd like to spend them with people who actually care about me. I also think it's a good idea to take your advice to avoid family gatherings if Mary is present. That will be hard because I don't want to miss time with the rest of my family, but I'll just make plans with them individually. Once again, thank you to everyone who commented. You've given me a lot to think about, and I'm planning to share some of your comments with my therapist to work through them. Some of them hit me hard, and I need time to unpack everything. This will be my last update, and I'll be deleting this account sometime after posting this. Take care, and I wish you all the best. From both me and my husband, we hope you have a wonderful holiday.